going to get into our prepared speeches. We have 5 of them today, and I am so excited about each one of these speeches. And our first speaker is Carolyn Kennedy, an author, speaker, and certified life coach who helps people rise through personal setbacks, spiritual disconnection, and seasons of uncertainty. Tonight, she'll be sharing a message titled Revenge or Rise, exploring how we respond when we've been hurt, betrayed, and misunderstood, and why the choice to rise is always more powerful than the pull of retaliation. Please welcome Carolyn Kennedy. Her speech will be 5 to 7 minutes.
Thank you.
Yes.
Good evening. I would not want to be presumptuous, but I would be willing to bet that every single one of us have been betrayed in our life at least once. Whether that betrayal came from just a colleague at work, someone that we didn't really know, but we thought that maybe they shouldn't be coming after us. Maybe it was from a friend, a family member, or maybe even your significant other. A situation where you felt like you could absolutely trust that other person. And then the wind gets knocked out of your lungs. The floor disappears from underneath your feet because they prove to you that you can't trust them. You thought you could, but they proved to you that you were absolutely wrong. Anybody never have that happen to them? That's what I thought. So when we think about being betrayed, it can be an act of just simply talking about you, saying things that are inappropriate, trying to pull you down. It can be absolutely intentional lying, trying to sabotage, coming after something that you're building. It could be a relationship where you thought that that other person was your best friend. You thought that that other person was your trusted partner, and you find out that they've stepped out of that relationship and that they've betrayed you. When we're faced with things like that, and you notice I didn't say if, when we're faced with things like that, much like everything else we go through in life, we have a choice. We can choose revenge, or we can choose to rise. Now, let me be absolutely honest. Revenge can feel really good, at least for the moment. Whether it is that calculated payback plus some, whether it's just simply the cold shoulder, maybe it's that monologue that we practice in our minds of all of the things that we were going to say if we had the opportunity to get the last word. But the thing about revenge is that although it might feel good for the moment, it doesn't really heal the hurt. All it does is mask the wound. Nelson Mandela, if we think about somebody famous who went through betrayal, Nelson Mandela was fighting in South Africa for equality, and he was in prison for 27 years. 27 years, that's almost 3 decades. And he was fighting for his country, betrayed, imprisoned. So when he finally got out of jail, he had had the opportunity for 27 years to think about all the things that he wanted to do to get even, to be able to retaliate, to be able to come back and say, I'm going to prove that I was right, I'm going to prove that you were wrong, and I'm going to do something about what you did to me. But that's not what he chose to do. Many people think that retaliation or revenge is our birthright, right? If you come after me, I'm absolutely going to come after you. That not only am I justified, but that it's socially expected. An eye for an eye. But when we think about it, Nelson Mandela made the choice not to retaliate. He made the choice to rebuild. So when he came out of prison, it wasn't about coming back after the people who came after him. It was about instead helping to still build his nation, his community, helping to others to be able to rise along with him. If we think about Julius Caesar, now Julius didn't get the opportunity to come back and choose between rising or revenge because Eat too, Brutus, eat too. But, but the thing is, he was betrayed, though, by someone that he trusted, someone that he considered a friend. And if we want to consider the kiss of Judas, absolute betrayal. And in that situation, it was seen, it was known that it was coming. In our lives, we usually don't have that foresight. We don't necessarily know that someone is plotting, not always, to come against us. But regardless of what that betrayal looks like, regardless of what form that betrayal takes, we have a choice. Nelson Mandela once said that retaliation or revenge is like drinking poison and waiting for the other person to die. Because they go on with their life. We're carrying whatever that is with us. If they were that worried about how we felt, they wouldn't have betrayed us to begin with. So we're the ones carrying all that animosity. We're the ones carrying all that negative feelings. And we're sitting here thinking about, I can't believe they did such and such. I can't believe that I trusted them with everything that I am. And they proved to me that they weren't worthy of that trust. They're not even thinking about us. They have moved on. But if we spend our lives worried about coming back, getting back at them, that retaliation, are we still living? There's a story about Nehemiah. And the story about Nehemiah, he heard that his country was in danger. He requested of the king to have the permission to be able to go back and rebuild the wall. He wanted to protect his people. There were people who criticized him. There were people who wanted to fight him, to be able to sabotage him. But he said, what I'm doing is too important. If I come down off this wall, I'm not doing what I was called to do. And so when we think about retaliation and when we think about revenge, if we stop whatever it is that we're doing that other people are coming at us against, trying to tear down, if we stop our forward movement to come down to fight that fight, they win. Because they stopped us from doing what it was that we were supposed to be doing or what it is that we wanted to be doing. We need to understand in our society, in our world, we look at silence as weakness. And we think that if we aren't choosing to come back and one up the person who did us wrong, that we're weak. I disagree. I think it's easy to seek revenge. I think it's easy to retaliate. What's hard is choosing to step back, to pause, to actually think about words that build as opposed to words that tear down, to think about actions that are going to uplift ourselves and others, as opposed to coming down to the level of the person who betrayed you to begin with. So with everything in our lives, we have a choice. So you can either choose revenge, which will feel good for the moment, or you can choose to rise. Because you're choosing the high road. And you're not giving them the power over you to cause you to come down to where they are. So I challenge you, the next time, because there will be a next time, that you're challenged by someone who betrays you, choose to rise. Don't sink to their level. Revenge never, ever comes out to be the best choice. Thank you.